industry alive, the ability to persevere when things feel impossible. In specialty coffee, we work challenging jobs to each play a role in something that's greater than the sum of its parts. When I was just 20, I became a mother. As I became responsible for a life other than my own, I had to learn resilience in order to give my daughter a better life than I had then. And I hoped that if I persevered, I could stand for something that mattered to more than just me. Resilience requires consistency and perseverance. Consistency is paramount to growing in coffee. It's starting with what you know, accepting obstacles as necessary to growth, but taking small steps. And these steps allow us to persevere with a desire to see what the possibilities hold within coffee, the hope for bettering coffee. Today's coffee comes from a farm that I've worked with before. And in practicing consistency, well, this coffee has taught me a lot about practicing consistency in pursuit of your goals. It comes from Finca Debra in Panama, where the producer, Jameson Savage, is constantly evolving techniques to enhance his beautiful Gesha coffee. Now, experimental processing poses a great risk of losing a high-value crop for the sake of furthering your craft. It requires consistency and thus allows us to build together to celebrate successes as not just individual wins, but as growth for our industry as a whole. This coffee is the producer's specific take on a natural anaerobic process, a nitrogen anaerobic fermentation that Jameson has named Nirvana. And I love how the idea of nirvana can be construed as rebirth, that we're constantly in stages oscillating between constants, like working with what we already know, and new beginnings, like innovation with new methods. Now, I was determined to serve you Finca Debra again, and as a result, I was only able to get my roaster, Chris, enough coffee for 2 chances at this roast. I relied on Chris's skill and consistency, building off what we knew about this coffee and learning quickly. We learned that this coffee needed a slightly longer development for more body and sugar development. The recipe that I'm using is an 18.5 gram dose with a 45 gram yield in 24 seconds, which is where I found the best balance. The classic Gesha profile of florals, stone fruit, and citrus is amplified by complex and juicy vibrancy, which you'll experience in the cup as raspberry, white peach, passion fruit, and mandarin. The body is light to medium with a silky tactile, and the finish is pleasantly dry, like black tea. When I hand you your espressos, please observe the crema, but wait for further instruction to taste. To ensure optimal drinking temperature, I'm using a laser thermometer. This will also allow you to have a consistent drinking experience. When working with this coffee, I found it was best enjoyed in 2 stages, different temperature ranges where the coffee changes as it cools. I'd like you to use your spoons to stir the espresso until the temperature decreases to about 53 degrees Celsius. If it's already at temperature, please take your spoons and stir 3 times. On the first tasting, you'll get that raspberry and white peach. And then I'd like you to stir again until the temperature reaches 50 degrees, where you'll taste the passion fruit and clementine. You can use the cups to the right for your spoons when you've finished stirring. Please note as you stir that the laser is sensing deep into the cup and may detect your spoon, so please remove periodically to double check as necessary. Resilience also requires perseverance, and not just individual perseverance. By experimenting and using teamwork, we collectively persevere. No matter where we start, everyone is capable of contributing an essential part to a greater scheme. And a lot of great ideas just happen by working together in small ways. Last year, I worked with a scientist who specializes in milk to discover exactly what happens during freeze distillation that makes us love it so much. Increased sugar, fat, protein, and slight mineral salts. I thought about what these findings meant for pairing espresso with better milk. So today I'm using a 50% freeze distilled milk just to slightly elevate the sugars while keeping the enhanced body and mouthfeel from the freeze distillation process. The important part here is that I'm also pulling a slightly longer shot of espresso, essentially putting back some of the water that was lost during the freeze distillation process back in the form of milk. This provides better balance and more distinct flavors. The flavors that you'll taste are caramel, sweet cream, and milk chocolate. Enjoy. Consistency and perseverance are fundamental to growing resilience. Whatever challenges I found within flavor pairings, I searched until I found my goal. The more I challenged myself by focusing on an intentional result, the more I learned about how to essentially predict an outcome. Fundamentally, this coffee has a citric acidity, but I wanted to emphasize the tropical side of this coffee and produce a more tropical transformation. I wanted to highlight the clean sweetness of this coffee, qualities we sought to preserve in the roast, but bring back some depth and balance it to a more tropical flavor profile. I'm starting with 100 grams of our chilled Gesha espresso and adding 40 grams of soursop juice. Soursop is a fruit that tastes like a combination of banana, apple, and sour citrus, which combined with the raspberry in my espresso tastes like strawberry candy in my signature drink. I'm also adding 38 grams of guava juice, which further emphasizes the transformation of orange to mango in my signature drink. I'm also adding 2 grams of champagne vinegar, which helps modulate the acidity, so you'll experience strawberry candy and mango as distinct flavors, and also introducing a flavor reminiscent of white wine like a Chardonnay. I'm adding 15 grams of a 1-to-1 coconut palm sugar simple syrup to bring in some depth of sweetness and add a balance to the acidity of the fruits. When I hand you your signature drinks, please wait to taste until I call time. I'm serving the drink just below room temperature, cool but not cold, which is where I found the best balance. And when it's time to evaluate, please swirl between sips so that the drink is fully incorporated. Lastly, I'm infusing the drink with cherry wood smoke. Cherry wood provides a slightly sweet and smoky aromatic and flavor. The tool that I'm using will infuse the drink from the top down, presenting an aromatic experience, but also integrating the flavors of the drink, further balancing it. The first sip may be more smoky, but the second and third will be more balanced. It can often be easier to focus on the setbacks in life and in coffee, but I believe that with consistency and perseverance, we can work together to build and grow, taking small steps. And I believe that the sum of these parts is what makes us so resilient. Thank you so much. Enjoy time.
Round of applause, please. Elisabeth Johnson, Dayglow Coffee in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
A little shaky.
Yeah, that's okay. You just did an incredible performance,
Thank you.
That's understandable for sure. Talking about perseverance and dedication, this is season 5 for you?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. That's incredible, Elisabeth.
Yeah, thank you.
And working again with Finca Deborah, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How was your approach this year in comparison and being such a outstanding coffee professional and competition barista?
I think the main difference this year was just that having done it so many times, I feel like it gets to a point where it's a little bit cumulative. And I was like, okay, I need to balance my life and competition, and I can't kill myself over it this year. I have to have kind of boundaries about when I practice, balance my life, and just trust the process, and that the feedback that I got and how I built off of it is going to be the best that I could do.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's probably good life lessons for all of us to take with us in everything we do, right?
Yeah.
And exploring kind of your presentation. So taking that thinking into your approach and understanding, okay, this is how I'm going to schedule myself. This is how I'm going to achieve that balance. Did you create kind of a new structure in how you approached getting to this point in both your regional events and this event here?
Well, this was unique in that I kind of got my coffee very last minute, as in 3 days ago. So I didn't really have an extensive amount of time to work with the coffee and really get to know it. I had to trust all of my skills over 13 years as a barista to believe that what I knew about this coffee and what I knew about working with it last year would work with the drinks I was making, and it did.
Yeah.
So I felt pretty confident about how everything tasted. Of course, there's a totally different training structure that you can build if you have your coffee 6 weeks in advance,
Right.
So I was mostly working on the stuff that I could work on.
Right.
And then trusting that when I got it all together, that it would work out.
Yeah. And there's a real benefit to not overthinking some things in certain situations.
I think so, yeah.
Because you can go, mad on some of those pieces.
Yeah, I definitely feel a lot more sane this season, and my life is more balanced.
Yeah, good.
My house is just a tiny bit cleaner, Yeah.
Great. It's those things also too that lead into a lot of steps that you take here, having those moments and creating that space into.
It's not always reinventing the wheel. Sometimes it's just working with what you know and trying to be the best you can at it.
Yeah, and a lot of really talented baristas focus on that too and learn from that over years too. Yeah. Year 5, I mean, Elisabeth, that is incredible. I think I always find a lot of interest in kind of seeing that exploration, and there's a number of competitors that have competed at that number of times too, but I think you're a wonderful example of just learning from all of those opportunities and showing up in really impactful ways every year. Let's talk about who you want to thank that's here with you this weekend.
Oh my goodness.
Or at home too.
Well, my whole family came out. That's my daughter right there in the camo. That's Scarlett.
What's her Scarlett?
Scarlett.
Hi, Scarlett.
She didn't want to come, but she said, if this is your last one, I guess.
Scarlett, you want to come up here? Give Mom a hug. Come on up here, Scarlett. Let's give a round of applause for our families helping support us. Oh, Amazing.
Losing my mic here, but of course, Dayglow, Team Tom, really appreciate all your support. Kyle, who's somewhere backstage helping another competitor.
He's just right over there.
Absolutely. Compares to none. Jameson Savage for the coffee. Oh, hey, there you are. I was looking the wrong direction. Thank you so much for the opportunity to use your coffee again this year. It was amazing.
Yeah. Outstanding. Hi, Scarlett. Who's Bunny?
Blossom.
Oh, Blossom. What a cutie. All right. Well,
Love you, buddy.
Big congratulations. Let's give one more round of applause, please. Elisabeth Johnson Dayglow from Los Angeles, California.